This is how they are classified: Kisumu 33, Nakuru 2, Nairobi 20.
Come again?
They are all under investigation, but Kisumu we had 33, Nakuru 2, Nairobi 20, Kakamega 2. Injuries were a number of them, and all that data is in this report that we shall be submitting to the committee.
That right there is Anne Makori, who's the chairperson of IPOA, that's the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, speaking about the reports of deaths that they have received, you know, in the recent past, particularly those suspected to be extrajudicial killings or killings at the hands of the police. So, you know, this was one of the other issues that came up. You know, Linus?
I think this week what we've seen is the more of opening up at the National Dialogue hearings. We've seen submissions that were extensive in a way, because we've not had the IPOA, the Police Oversight Authority, speaking this frankly before about numbers, about the deaths that actually happened during the elections. And I just wanted to listen to Commissioner Dr. Walter Ogony, who speaks of the challenges they faced in processing the forensic information.
When we want forensic analysis of the weapon that was used, then we sometimes encounter bottlenecks because this laboratory is under the control of the DCI. The DCI, to me, and I want you legislators, is part of the NPS. He is under the command of the IG, and he cannot be independent. He denies or they alter the evidence because they have to give us the report of the weapon used. They say, as per our analysis, these weapons were not in the possession of the police as at the time of the action.
You know, look at that, and one of the things that you'll definitely ask yourself is, what exactly is going on at Bomas? What is this process? Is it a truth and reconciliation hearing? Is it a post-election review thing? Is it a dialogue of political parties and all that? It's carrying so many characteristics all in one, and that's why we see groups and entities coming, each submitting its own issues, because there was a contestation when these teams were getting together in Bomas, and one of the contestations was, or what should the agenda be? One of the questions they really fought over is whether they should review or look into what really transpired in the election of 2022. Yet you see, for the last few days, especially today, we've had these issues dominating the agenda. You have IPOA coming up and owning up on numbers and the challenges that they were facing. And what should worry us is, how do you package an outcome out of this? Because if we don't decide at entry point what you want to achieve, then you have this thing that is just funneling out into everything and anything. We are hearing everything and anything now. And I just want us to actually go to Professor Githu Muigai, a very eminent former Attorney General, who submitted his views that, in my view, sounds like very solid constitutional reforms proposals.
We have too many people in Parliament. We have too many constituencies, so that we should be reducing constituencies, not increasing. We have too many counties. We should reduce counties, not increase counties. They are costing us a lot of money, and quite a number of them are not viable.
look at that. Now, this is about reviewing the Constitution, and it's been 13 years, and Githu Muigai was part of the process of putting together the 2010 Constitution, and so he's proposing massive changes. So is this the team to process that into some form of outcome? I don't know. Sometimes I honestly can't figure out what is going on at the Bomas of Kenya.
Yvonne, there are 13 issues on the table after they finally agreed on what to be discussed or not. But the issues about the election is taking prominence, and there are some issues that are being discussed more than others. Yes, it will be almost unfair to expect all the issues to be given equal time in terms of discussion and submissions. But it's not only the IEBC issues and the election issues that are on the table. Whether this committee will be able to take anything forward or not. There are other issues there, including the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. I've not heard much about that. There's the Senate Oversight Fund. We've heard about boundaries delimitation. There are the issues about the cost of living and related issues. This should have really been one of those issues that have been discussed quite a bit in these sessions, but I don't think, other than the chair of LSK, I've had really a lot of conversations about the cost of living and related issues, because he went on about the finance bill and what it means, and they've gone to court and everything. The implementation of the 2/3 gender rule is another issue. Adequate checks and balances is another one. Preventing interference with political parties and coalitions, which was very important for Azimio. I've not had it really being discussed as much, though we had the Center of Multi-Party Democracy there talking about one other issue, which is the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and the issues about the leader of opposition. Maybe we can listen to Priscilla Nyokabi, the chairperson of CMD, and we can continue with the discussions.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary, this one should head the government business and be accountable to Parliament to foster inclusivity and cooperation. Our views here are also based on strengthening political parties.
Strengthening political parties. Again, Yvonne, the issues that are on the table, they're not being given equal time for discussion. And my worry is we're expecting, I think, the sittings of this committee where they're receiving views to be over by Tuesday. Tomorrow we have the UDA meeting, so I don't expect that they'll have any sittings because members of UDA are in the committee. So they'll be attending that session. But then we only have Monday and Tuesday. Will we be able to actually... And then hizi kutoa maoni ni kama inakwisha hapo. So my point is, will we be able to actually get the information we need, the submissions we need on each and every issue that is on the table? Considering the fact that how much time Kwanza it took us to actually settle on these issues, because one of the issues of contention at the beginning when the committee was being formed was what exactly are we going to discuss? So we've already decided there are 13 of them. We have tunapokea maoni, but kuna zingine ambazo hapa zitapitwa tu hapo hivyo tu.
And this is 60 days, right?
Yeah.
So once they're done with hearing the submissions, they then retire to the favorites, no? Naivasha, Mombasa, one or the other or both, and then that's it? Sam?
I mean, I don't know.
Like, was this it? It sort of feels like an anticlimax. Like, is this it? Is this all?
You see, the interesting bit is that, I mean, it's not the usual task forces, committees, commissions, whatever it is, because usually they have terms of reference. In this particular matter, what are the terms of reference? It was demands from either of the political sides. It was the Azimio and it was the Kenya Kwanza administration. And so every side presented its issues, and they were to sit together and identify what are the issues then for this committee. And they spent some time, if you remember, even we used to discuss this on the show. Eventually, their hard work gave results, and the results were everything Azim wanted to discuss was on the agenda.
Yeah.
And
everything Kenya Kwanza wanted to discuss
was on the agenda.
So you have a list of so many issues, and you expect them, because they couldn't agree. What do you knock out? What do you keep? I mean, I do not think that Kenya Kwanza was interested in auditing the election of 2022.
Certainly
but
not.
It is on the agenda, meaning it was sufficient to keep the calm. But the calm is not being kept, as you can see. So already you're seeing that I think I've seen a draft petition being taken to court to challenge the place of this national dialogue. Like, what are they saying? You're talking about looking at the Constitution, amending it. You're inviting people to come and make participation or contributions within 7 days. Like, who are you? I mean, who set the rules? Why are you limiting the space? Are these issues that have been factored in the agenda of the 5 pillar issues broken into about 12 to 13, are they everything that Kenyans are concerned about? So I don't know if that particular matter will find its day in court, but the day it does, then I think there'll be very serious questions being posed there.
And yet, it'll come 100 million shillings. Is it 100 million? 100 million later.
100 million shillings. I mean, what you're seeing on TV is that's how to spend
100 million.
100 million shillings.
Here is my take, Yvonne, pun intended.
Go for it.
Yeah, I think this is a warm-up session of something that may come or may not happen. Make no doubt, Kenyans, we are experts of committees, task forces, commissions. We've done these things and we do them very, very well. And we are very thorough. And in fact, this is the least, how can I put it? This is not the A team of such processes. Not at all. By far not. You cannot compare this, for example, with the teams that were involved in both Bomas 1 and Bomas 2. Remember, to write this constitution that we have today, there were about 4 or 5 such similar processes. Starting all the way back with the KANU parliamentary committee that went around the country asking people whether you actually want the constitution changed, whether section 2A to be removed and things like that. So if I was to draw comparisons, this is the KANU committee stage. Because normally, and we've done these things as a country, there'll be a point where now the heavyweights come in, the experts of those boardroom conversations, experts of terms of reference and you know and directing processes of such talks. So this can be just be a warm up. So what should we expect? I don't know what the report would look like, whether you know, there's something that is done in therapy sessions, which is just write your recommendations, write your views, but don't indicate your name. Because I'm yet to really see how such a divided team, and you know, divisions showed today when the issues divide them, you know, it becomes very, very clear how far apart politically these two sides are. They're still at war. They're still fighting. So it's inconceivable to expect a report that is joined when it comes to some of those issues, especially on this question of the auditing of the elections. Are they going to actually have a common position? Are they going to have a common position on the so-called cost of living? It's very, very difficult to expect that there'll be those common positions, which is why we should consider this a warm-up sort of. If Kenyans actually think there are serious issues coming out of Bomas that then require further processing, this is not the team that will do it. There'll be another process. There'll be another bigger process that is more broad-based. Remember, before this happened, we used to hear from very eminent religious leaders who are saying, no, we should be part of this process.
Yeah.
They have not clamored to be part of this particular one for now.
They've actually given it a wide berth.
They've given it a wide berth because they know this is not it. This is not the one. What they're thinking about is obviously a more solid process with clear terms of reference and a more serious political atmosphere in terms of the willingness to actually get something out of such a process. I think for now, both sides, both the government and the opposition, are going through a therapy session about some of the issues that really divide them, especially the election. And you could see, I mean, from the events today, that the therapy may not necessarily be working that well yet. So this is not the process that some of those religious leaders really expected. There are Kenyans out in the wings, including some who have taken time to present their views there. I don't think they present those views there thinking that this is the team that will process them. I think they are doing this to start a conversation, not to get these things addressed.
And Yvonne, if you look at that list, issue number 1 is Article 43 of the Constitution, the cost of living, and related issues. The cost of living was the issue which was touted or pushed most Kenyans to the streets during maandamano. It was an issue that the Azimio side kept insisting that needed to be in the agenda. The government in the beginning said, no, cost of living is a government issue, we'll deal with it as we deem fit. But then now, as you've said, Gituku, the issue that Kenya Kwanza wanted are on the table, the issue that the government, that Azimio wanted are on the table. But then now, I think it was one of the commissioners who said it, NCIC Commissioner Sam Kona said, when politicians are unhappy, it's a problem. But when they are okay, issues affecting the people are pushed on the sidelines. And I think this is what we are seeing. All the members of that committee are politicians representing either or. And as Lina says, this is not it in terms of ultimately what the outcome will be. That's why you're saying some important players are giving it a wide berth, because it should be a bit more open, a bit more inclusive of others. Mwananchi wa kawaida hana sauti pale. Religious bodies hazina sauti pale. Maybe non-governmental organizations hazina sauti pale. So it's almost an exercise in futility, if you ask me. And Linus has said that isio enyewe. Is this a 100 million shillings worth exercise in futility? Or is it an exercise kunyamazisha watu kidogo, so it seems like we are working to try and find solutions to the issues that are affecting us, that have been affecting us for the past 1 year in terms of maandamano, hatukubali serikali and all that? Because if it's not really genuine something that will ultimately end in something, then why are we having it in the first place? 60 days inaisha when? Mwisho October.
Yeah.
And then?
Yeah. And then, yeah.
Because the issues, all the issues are not being tackled, they're not being given equal time as they should be.
Now, here is something else that is coming up. I want us to switch gears quickly and talk about something else that's coming up, perhaps in 3 months. Something interesting that came out of the president's trip to the United States. We first saw U.S. President